Once again, my humble namaskar to everybody and Shubho Vijaya also. And hope everybody doing good. Since we did not meet you last week, I was missing all of you, especially the discourse on Bhagavad Gita for 1 week time because of the Navaratri. And I'm happy that we came back to our regular activities like talking on the wonderful words of the Lord. So before I go to that topic, as we do every week, let me do pranam to our gurus. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim chaiva tato jayo mudiraye vyasaya vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namaha Vai Brahma Vidhaya Vasishtaya Namo Namaha Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badurayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavanto Punaha Punaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagate Pate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Varanangi Srimati Radha Brinda Bhuvaneshwari Brishabhanu Sutam Devi Twang Namami Hari Priye Om Namaha Shri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Shri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Okay, so we were in the chapter 6, the yoga of meditation. Searching our inner beauty, basically. If you remember the last 2 weeks, we talked about the process of meditation, how we should focus our mind deep into us, and how we can discover our inner beauty, and how we can find out true peace of life that we have been discussing last couple of weeks. So I will continue the same subject, the chapter 6 on the yoga of meditation, because it's time actually that to focus our mind to inside of us so we could find out our true peace of life. Because you know that since I have been living in ashram, in monastery, the phone call keep coming all around the world, how the people are suffering for in various ways. Every day news coming, every day, anytime phone call come, sometimes I'm afraid to pick up the phone because I don't know what kind of news coming. So I thought it's time actually that if we can divert our mind from that outside, that disturbance to inside of us and find out the solace and peace, and then through we can find our inner beauty so that we can depend on ourselves, our own inner strength. So it is because of this I thought let me continue this topic before I complete this one. So today I will be starting to the verse number 17 of chapter 6. Verse number 17 of chapter 6, the yoga of meditation or dhyana yoga of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna at the battleground of Kurukshetra. Om Yuktahara Viharasya Yukta Chestasya Karmasu Yukta Sapna Babodhasya Yogo Bhavati Dukkha. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. The Lord Krishna, the master of this world, the source of this creation, the father of this world, continues his unique teachings of this the meditation, yoga of meditation, to his most beloved student Arjuna. And it's all going on in a battleground. So what Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, that Arjuna, practice of yoga becomes a remover of sorrows to that person who is moderate in food and in recreation, who is average in his activities, and who is reasonable in sleep and wakefulness. If you remember that in previous discourse, we talked how to sit for meditation. So in this particular verse, Lord Krishna telling us about the food and recreation and the activities and day-to-day life. So what he say? Yukta ahara. Ahara means food. And we all know that what we are today, and because of the food plays such an important role. Our sickness, our happiness, our good health, our energy, our inspiration, our positive way of life, whatsoever, depending on the kind of food we eat. We'll be discussing about the food in details in the coming chapters. But here, just before I go to those kind of topic, imagine the food we eating, charbochosho lojjhopeyo. 4 types of food we eat every day. We grind, food we grind in the mouth, charbo, chusho, the food we chew, like lozenge kind of thing, and then chocolate kind of thing. Charbo chusho lejo, we lick, like milk, water, or any kind of fruit juice, or any kind of milkshake, or tea, coffee. So charbo chusho lejo, lejo means licking, and then we drinking the water kind of things. So these four kind of foods we eating inside, and bitter, sweet kind of thing, this go in the body, in the stomach, and then it does a kind of look like a machine that it grind, and whatever needed, kind of raw kind of blood, the kidney, make it pure, and it go all the way to our heart, and then heart pumping day and night those blood all over the body. So the kind of food we eating, so it kind of changing our way of life. We have to be so careful. Sometimes me also, I get temptation when devotees bringing rasgulla, homemade rasgulla, or devotees bringing, say, kind of dhoka tarkari, lot of masala. So we get greedy. Sometimes I cannot control my tongue, and I eat later on that I feel, I'm not feeling well today. It happened to me too. So we have to be so much of careful. So yukta ahara, and also according to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that we supposed to fill up our belly, stomach, half of the stomach with food, right food. Sometimes we cook, because of the situation, and because of our mother and sister, they also have full-time job, so they don't get time to cook every day. Sometimes you go and cook on Sunday, maybe it's going on till Friday or Saturday. And sometimes we buy the cooked food from the, canned food from store. We put in tawa in a pan, we heat it and eat. But because we're hungry, we need to eat something so we could do other thing. But we have to keep in mind that we have to be so careful of the food, because so much kind of, whenever you visit hospitals, you could see the people suffering from so many kinds of, that sickness. We have to be really, really careful. So yuktahara means moderate in food. We are talking of the meditation. So we have to sit for meditation so that we could sit comfortably and withdraw our mind from outside world and go deep into in. And so we could find out that what is the true purpose of life, why we came to this world. We did not come to this world just to eat, drink, and be merry. Like thousands of people, millions of people came before of us, and then they all gone, they lost. We don't want to be lost like that way. That Kabira, jab tum paida hue, jagaha se tum roe. Kabir, the Saint Kabir say that when you born, that baby cry, that jab tum paida hue, jagaha se, the people was happy, a child was born. Tum roe, because you baby you cry. But when you leaving this world, you smile, let the world cry for you. Do something, that kind of something. So people cry for us. But when I leave, I smile and go. Goodbye. So, Yukta Aharo, we have to be moderate in food. We need to fill up our stomach, half of the stomach with food, keep half of the stomach empty, because we will be drinking water also after. Also, please keep in mind, immediately after food, we supposed not to drink water. At least we should wait 40 minutes of time. After 40 minutes, then you can drink water, or before you take the food, you can drink water. Or in between, you can take a sip of water, little, very little, in case food is stopping in the throat. So we have to be very careful, especially those who are planning to start the meditation. They have to be very careful of their food they eating. It have to be sattvic kind of food. It have to be pure kind of food, not like rajasic food, creating disturbance in the body, mind, and the thought. So yukta aharo and then biharasya. Yukta aharo biharasya in recreation. There are so many ways. And nowadays, the recreation, the phone. Even monk also, when you come, you see the monk also sitting with the phone. I mean, all day, our eyes paining, the what you call finger paining, because we're touching, and we to keep ourselves busy. So much thing we going. I wish you had some kind of. I'm sure some of you have some kind of hobby, like say music or writing or drawing, the art, or some kind of a study, good books, some kind of hobby, so that could keep us busy at this time of need. Like I have the hobby of the classical music. So whenever I get time, I sit down with the tanpura and I start one ragas, and then it take my mind to the different level of life. So I wish that everybody has some kind of hobby you love, a creative something. It should be something very creative. So because it's telling that, just imagine that if we keep this is like a container, if we fill up this container with garbage, so you cannot think positively now. We have to be really, really have to be positive at this. We have to be brave, positive, inspiring, that we have to believe ourselves. You have to keep yourself, believe in yourself that no sickness, sorrows, nothing can touch you. We have to be really, really positive, aggressively positive at this hour of need. So, and for that, the body needs help from you. So the food, the recreation kind of activities we're doing, it need to be controlled. Something which I don't need to do, please don't do that. People might say that you're selfish, let them say. Who care? Because your life is your life. Who knows? We have been talking that we might be coming again. We talking that we came before also, we talked that. But Nobody knows about it. We hear the stories. We hear the people say, saint, the books, writing, saints telling, in the song, in the poetry reading. But we don't know that where we coming, will be coming or not. There's no surety. So if it is one life, let us use it in a rightful way. Let our ear hear the beautiful names of the God, sweet name of the God. Let our ear use so that that beautiful soothing name of the Lord go to throughout our body, mind, and soul and change our life so that ultimately we can feel the touch of God. Let our mouth talk of good thing only good thing. Let our mouth talk. And let our eyes see good everywhere. Remember, we'll be coming that subject today. That Lord light in this particular chapter 6, Lord Krishna will be telling how to see things properly. That also I'll be taking you to that topic. So, yukta ahara viharasya yukta chestasya means a regulated life. I was writing Guruji's book, Swami Pranavandaji's book, yesterday morning. And then Guruji was, that Guruji came, that Swami Pranavandaji Maharaj was born in Bajitpur. Presently, it is in Bangladesh, in the district of Faridpur. So Guruji, from Calcutta, he went to Bajitpur, his village. You could imagine a village, a ashram surrounded by a small canal or creek. There was the mango tree, jackfruit tree, supari tree, and shawara tree. All those kind of trees are there, and it's a mud road, steel mud road. I mean, if you go to Bajitpur to see the birthplace of Swami Pranavandaji, you really have to walk on mud road, maybe 3 miles, and very little small road. I mean, going from America, you might feel how you'll be walking there even. And you will be looking also so different from the village people. So Guruji went back to the Bajitpur and he said that he called the boys. I want to sit with them. So the boys came, around 20 young boys from the Bajitpur village came, Hindu, Muslim, all kind of boys came. So Guruji was that, make a routine of your life. That, okay, from 4, you wake up from the bed. 4 to 5 is your prayer and meditation time. And then you take a shower or do some exercise, something, and then take a shower and then start your study. The Guruji was telling to the student, and this, you come back from school, do this thing. So till night 10, Guruji gave them a routine. We call diary, that tomorrow, these I'm doing, and then making the tick mark. Okay. And you might say that, Swamiji, we are already advanced in age. Should I need to do all those things? Yes. Life should be disciplined and principled and regulated, and it should be well planned. We cannot just, because time and tide wait for none. The Shamoy and Nodir Srot or the Samudrir Dheu কারোর জন্য অপেক্ষা করে না. It do not wait for anybody. Time and tide wait for none. It need to be, life should be regulated so that we could find out time to sit for meditation. And then Lord Krishna telling, Yukto chestasya karmashu, Yukto swapno. Yukto swapno abodhasya. Swapno is sleep. 100 years, the natural lifespan, a human being supposed to live 100 years. Among 100 years, we spent up to almost 25 years since, we were baby, we could not do up to 15 years. We were maybe up to 15, 16 years. So it completely depended on our mom and dad. And then we go to the young age, we are being turbulent. We don't have control on ourselves. Up to 25, we study, go to college and all those things. So 25 years gone, we could not do anything except study and prepare ourselves. Then you start the family life. Now I see in the ashram every day. Now say that baby born into your home, you cannot think anything because you have to take care of the baby. The baby is so demanding. You don't get time to sleep even. I could see every day in the ashram. So by this time, your babies are big, you are already 50, 55, you could imagine. Because you could not think any other thing. Till you thinking, oh, my daughter is married or my son is settled down, all those things. Now coming, say after 50 or 55, and because we did not make a habit, we did not train ourselves this way to find out time to sit for meditation. So it will take time to build up a new habit again. By that, in between 50 to 75, this is the time actually we vigorously try. Otherwise, after that, body will be some kind of, that sickness comes time, 75, 80, you are helpless because it's common, all the parts in human body getting old, and this kind of problem, that kind of problem come. So it's really we need to make a good habit to sit for meditation daily. Even if we do not get time, before we get to go to the bed, sitting on the bed itself we can do meditation. The Guruji say that okay, before you lie down, sit on your bed and pray for a while to the God, then you go to the bed. Yukta Shapno, the sleeping, because what are the greatest enemy of the mankind? Swami Pranavanandaji say that laziness, sleep, lethargy, drowsiness, these are the greatest enemy of the human. We thinking, okay, we'll do meditation from tomorrow, but then you cannot sit tomorrow again because something coming up. And in this way, so sleepiness, sleep, lethargy, and then laziness, drowsiness, these are the enemy of the greatest enemy. Swami Pranavananda say, what are the greatest enemy? These are the four things I mentioned are the greatest enemy. And if you're interested, please find out in the maybe website, the 10 divine messages of Acharya Swami Pranavandaji. All those are there. That what are the greatest friend? Uddham means encouragement, inspiration, positive kind of attitude. You want to do something good. These are the willingness to do something good. These are the best friend of our life. So, yukta haru viharasya yukta chestasya karmasya yukta sapna avabodhasya, and not sleep at all. I remember, before I got the sannyas, 6 years I did not lie down on the bed. I had to sit down under the mosquito net, and I got so sick. I remember though that I used to wear white dress, and I did not get the sannyas that time. I was trainee, brahmachari, and 6 years I did not lie down on the bed. I used to put the mosquito net and sit down, and maybe I'm just supporting the body with a wall or some pillow and whatever little bit to rest. And then I got so sick that time. So it should be regulated, our food, our recreation, our activities, our sleep, not too much sleep and not too much wakefulness also. Because nowadays, once you go sit down to the Facebook or YouTube or something, WhatsApp, maybe you look at the clock, is already 1 o'clock, midnight. We're supposed to go to bed at 10 and wake up by 3:30, 4. But then it's already 1, you are still in the WhatsApp or whatever in the phone, and then you go to bed. How can you expect to wake up early in the morning in the Brahma Muhurta, the best time for meditation? How can we wake up? We cannot. Body is not ready. That is why early bed is necessary to get, wake up, you leave your bed early so that you could sit down for meditation. Because morning is the best time to practice meditation. And why I'm emphasizing in this particular thing, because that I live that life. And what you read, religious books, all the religious books you read, you see in the movie, in the TV serial, or you could think over, and all the Vedas, Vedantas, any religious book or sacred text you study is only part of that life is being told. It's not all. Since we have been living many years now, that I myself is more than 45 years. So I could, when I read all those books, I could see the writer or the author of all those books wrote only partial of that life. So spiritual life is a vast undiscovered world. Once you knock the door, you'll be surprised to see such beauty, such treasure, such richness is hiding there. And you'll find out that, oh my God, I should have started this life long before, even though living a family life. I told a couple of times in our home, somebody living a family life, there are so many saint and holy men. They wear in regular dress, you don't identify them, you don't recognize them. People do not count them as a holy man. But there are so much of them hiding at our home. So in conclusion, in this particular verse, Lord Kita say that somebody practice yoga this way, yoga bhavati dukkha. Regulated food, regulated sleep, regulated wakefulness, regulated activities, it remove the sorrows from the life. If you see the last word, yoga bhavati dukkha, practice of yoga, practice of meditation become removal of sorrows. To whom? Somebody who practice, somebody who has a disciplined life, regulated life, somebody has a planned life, well-planned life, well-designed life. Your life becomes free from sorrows, because up, down, good time, bad time, cold, heat, win, victory or failure, these are the part of the life. Everybody must go through this life. Like Acharya Swami Pranabandaji Maharaj say that a life where there is no sangharsha, where there is no battle, where a life where there is no ups and downs, there is no that victory or failure, sadness and the happiness, that life is very little hope to improve, because struggle is another further step, your further improvement. Criticism, another further step for your improvement of your life. The bad time, dark time of your life means the good time is well ahead of you. So please, in case of darkness come, in case of failure come, do not get depressed. Keep that faith in yourself. The success is sure to come to your life. Let me take you to the next verse now. Let me see where I'm taking you. Still chapter 6. I will be taking you to the verse number 19. Yatha deepo nibatast ningate supama smrita yogina yata cetasya junjata jagamatmanaha. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Krishna, Om Krishna, Om Krishna, Om Krishna. Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells to Arjuna again, giving an example. Because if you remember, I think last sitting, I discussed about the meditation, practice of meditation in night time. If you remember, I mentioned about the 6 types of meditation given in the Shiva Mahapuran. Lord Shiva tells Ma Parvati about the 6 types of meditation. The first type of meditation was Jyoti Dhyan, meditation on light. And Lord Shiva gave the elaborate description how to do that. That night time when everybody is sleeping, or early morning when there is no disturbance, you make a small asana or a small pillow, keep your backbone, your neck, your head, everything straight, and focusing in between the two eyebrows. Initially, we'll be putting our eyes right here at the tip of the nose. And then that means when you're putting your eyes at the tip of the nose, it helping you to withdraw your mind from outside world, from office, from job, from children, from family, from the demand of the time, or various kind of difficulties. You are withdrawing your mind from there. And then you close your eyes, focusing our focus point will be right here in between the two eyebrows, which is called Agya Chakra, Agnya Chakra. And then we imagine a small, that steady light there. We imagine that is called Jyoti Dhyan. Initially, maybe after 2-3 minutes, you might feel little heat in the forehead. Then you give up that. You again bring your mind down to here. And this way, practice, bit by bit practice, one day you'll be shocked to know that your capability to sit down a little longer time and meditate on the Jyoti, you'll be surprised to see your capability. And what you'll be experienced that time means you'll be lost in that vast, beautiful, blissful light of this universe. You'll be lost there. So that's called Jyoti Dhyan. Here, the Lord Krishna gave an example how a practitioner of meditation sit down and what should be his appearance or attitude to sit in that meditation. Here, Yatha Deepo Nibatasto Nengate Sopuma Smrita Yogino Yato Chittasya Junjato Jogo Matmanaha. Arjuna, as at a windless place, a lamp does not flicker. That is the best example of a yogi. Let me read again. As at a windless place, a lamp does not flicker. That is the best example of a yogi. Well disciplined, concentrated, focused, and practice yoga to know God only. You could see. So, a lamp, if door closed, you light a lamp. You know that because mind is so restless. So, you cannot sit down for a few minutes. So, to control our mind, we practice Trataka. So, what is Trataka? In a dark room, we place a candle. So, when I sit down straight, my eyes could go straight. Not like bending the head, not like this. It should be straight, you put a light. And keep looking the light without blinking the eyes and thinking that I withdraw my mind from outside world and my focus, my mind, body, soul, thoughts, everything in that light. Or we used to put a dot on the wall, in a white dot or red dot, like how our sisters and mother put red dot on the forehead. So we put there and we used to sit down and look right there. It's called Trataka, practice of Trataka to master the mind. I should not be the slave of my mind. I should be the master of my mind. Whatever I order, my mind is supposed to obey that. Not like that, what my mind says, and I'm bound to obey that. It's kind of mastering the mind. So mind, Jatha Deepo. So if you keep a lamp door closed, the light of the candle do not flicker, it don't move. Well, yesterday I was practicing because of the heat going on in the home. So as soon as the heat run on, and so because of the air inside the room, so I could see that light was flickering. But it should be that lamp light should be steady. So that is the best example of a yogi. That means a practice of meditation. So you're sitting for meditation and your body steady, no movement. Mind fully control, your thought full control. You have full control on yourself and you could focus properly deep into your inner beauty. You're searching, using the Viveka and Vairagya, that who am I? What is my true identity? This body is a man or a woman, male or female body. That somebody say that I am the daughter, I am the son of somebody. But what is my true identity? Who am I? So jatha deepo nibatasto ningate, that is the best example of a yogi. And you know that to practice meditation you don't need to be a monk. Practice, everybody has right to meditate. Everybody has God given this unwritten right to everybody to practice meditation. Everybody is given the right to know God, to understand the beauty of the God. Everybody is a God child of the, that we are the God children of the Supreme, of that Father of the world. Yogino joto chittasya, that well disciplined. You know, I have been emphasizing this point because sometimes even I break the laws of life, and that's also that I could hear myself that what I'm talking, and then I could practice myself. Life should be well, everything should be timely exercise, timely food, timely take your shower, timely go to bed, timely finish your work, whatever you need to communicate with the people, whatever you have office job, everything should be regulated so that I could find out time to sit. And this is my time for meditation. No phone call received, no WhatsApp, no Facebook, no friend informing people, look, this time please do not disturb me. This is my meditation time. There's not, if a phone call come, it's not that I have to reply right now. Later on I could call back. It's not a problem. Nobody mind that if we're polite. So regulate, well discipline, concentration. It's very important. Concentration. Jnana, your judgment, your right judgment is your bow, and your mind is the arrow. You sharpen that arrow with the job, meditation, prayer to the, oh Lord, please help me. Because as soon as I try to pray to you, because so much problem coming in life, please help me so that I could get time to sit for your meditation. These are the prayer, job, all this help to shine the arrow. And then with concentration, full concentration, we can hit the target that Brahmo Tallakshma Uchyate. Imagine that story when Arjuna had to look down and a fish moving in a wheel, and he had to throw 5 arrows to the eye of the fish. And Arjuna's looking below, arrow like this, and hit 5 times. So focused Arjuna was. And that is why Arjuna became the most beloved friend and student of Lord Sri Krishna. So jato chittasya junjato, focused and practice to know God, the ultimate our goal, that I'm sure everybody, scientists, everybody, because you know, since we're living in ashram, the rich people, those who are really very successful in their life, and they also come to ashram because they handle money every day, so they know what it is. I told one day, the people are waiting when you'll be closing your eyes, your body will be one side, they will see what you left behind. They are waiting to grab it. And I also mentioned that, you remember I told one that in a governing body meeting in Calcutta headquarters, we all monks sitting. So one Swami was telling that people gave little dakshina, little pranami or little donation to monk, and they save it. And sometime when monk die, maybe when they break their boxes, open their boxes, maybe some couple of thousands of kind of rupees and this there. And he was telling that this monk did not use this money. He could buy some fruit, buy something too, but it did not bhoge laglo na, means he did not enjoy that pranami. So it happened to many of us. We just leave behind, we don't enjoy that, and then people are waiting to grab that. So before that they come, so let me sit for meditation with focused mind, with concentrated mind, so that when I close my eyes, I could meditate on the beautiful appearance of God. And let me see that what Lord Krishna wanted to teach Arjuna again in the verse number 22 of chapter 6. Om Yam labdha chaparam labha Yam labdha cha param labham mannate nadhikam tatah. Yam labdha cha param labham manyate nadhikam tatah. Yasmin sthita na dukkhena. Yasmin sthita na dukkhena. Gurunapi vichalyate. Yam labdha cha param labham. Madhura madhura naam. Krishna naam jai Krishna naam. Madhura madhura naam. Krishna naam jai Krishna naam. O Krishna naam Krishna naam. Krishna naam jai Krishna naam. Madhura madhura naam. Krishna naam jai Krishna naam. Madhura madhura naam. Krishna naam jai Krishna naam. Hare Namaiva Hare Namaiva Hare Namaiva Kevalam Kalo Nastevo Nastevo Gatirannatha. Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna in the verse number 22 of chapter 6, Arjuna, having attained this high spiritual wisdom, a yogi or a practitioner of yoga think that there is nothing more valuable than this. Imagine. Being established in that highly spiritual state, a practitioner is not agitated even at the time of great sorrow. Oh, such a beautiful slogan. Yam labdha cha apuram labham. By getting something, you don't think the other thing as more valuable than this. Yam labdha cha apuram labham mannate na adhikam tata. By attaining something, you got something that you think that other thing is not so valuable, it's not so needed. So what I got that I'm counting other things is not valuable, because it say, that this body is being compared with a 3-story building. This human body that compared with a 3-story building. That from navel to downstairs, that is down, that is the one floor, in the middle another floor, and the top, the head is another. So 3-story building, basically. And all parts of this body is necessary to practice meditation, to do anything we want to do. So here, the Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, the spiritual asset, spiritual wisdom, adhyatmic jnana, spiritual wisdom, somebody earn, or somebody by virtue, somebody could open the door of vast treasure of spiritual world. Somebody by their sacrifice, by their hard work, could reach in that state. To them, this little material thing is so, it has no value. Like a piece of gold and a piece of mud or a piece of marble is the same, is all the same value to him, because he got the most valuable thing in this world. So yang labdha na cha apuram labham manyate nadhikam tataha. They feel there cannot be any other thing which is more valuable. You could imagine that it happened this morning. I was writing Guruji's book. So Guruji telling that monk going to the people home, knocking their door, and to collect fund for the organization and for preaching purposes. Now, money is the most loved thing by the people, because they earn this money with their hard work. Their young is gone, their energy gone, their education is being used, their intellect is being used to earn that money. Is the most loved thing to anybody. Now, so when monk going to your home, knocking the door, bhiksham dehi, to collect alms, you giving 5 rupees or $5, little you give. I remember I used to collect 1 rupees every month. Many home in when I was in Delhi. So many home I used to call every month. I used to knock the door, go to their home, and they used to give 1 rupees every month. Means 12 month, 12 rupees. So Swami Pranabandji Maharaj say that this is their hard-earned money. Even they giving 1 rupee for the for philanthropy, for charity, for the ashram activities, and that also bring great benefit, great benefit to them, that connect them with the spiritual world. Because they see the monk coming to their home, knocking their door, even though they don't like sometimes, but at least $1 they giving, that making them connected with the spiritual world. And that is Swami Pranabandji. This morning I was writing the same word. I was trying to put the right word actually in English. So, yam labdha cha aparam labham manyate nadhikam tatahu. After attaining that spiritual wisdom, spiritual asset, spiritual wealth, a devotee think other thing is not so valuable. Yasmin sthita nadukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. By establishing at such state, a devotee do not cry or do not feel sad at the time of great sorrow even. Because we have to keep in mind, life has two sides like a coin. One side you see light, other side darkness. We smile and then we cry too. We again smile and again we cry too. Times come for great joy in life, and then time comes to cry again. And so that is why the Lord Krishna knew this secret of life. And so he mentioned that somebody who already opened that world, somebody who already attained that spiritual wisdom, somebody already attained that reach to the feet of the God, somebody who experienced that the Lord, that beautiful appearance of the Lord, that Lord Krishna or Lord Govinda is already dwelling in my heart. Even the time of great sorrow is not bichalati, is not agitated, is not breakdown. So much thing happen. We love to read the story of kind of Lord Rama. We love to read the story of Mahabharata. But if you see the heroes and heroines of this, the great scriptures, what they went in their life, and how they continue their journey to improve their life. So we learn that from their life, the struggle is the part of life. Struggles is the further step to improve our life. So this is how this particular verse telling that by once we earn this spiritual wisdom, even we don't count any other thing is most valuable. And even when the time comes for great sorrow, a devotee is not being agitated for that sorrow. So that was the message of that particular verse. And now I'll be reading 2 verses. It's very beautiful. It's all related to meditation. This is verse number 24 and 25 of chapter 6. Very beautiful, and you'll see how slowly, step by step, we can go deep into the spiritual world. That is being mentioned in this particular 2 verses. संकल्प प्रभवान कामान त्यक्त त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनोशैवेन्द्रियग्रामम् विनियम्य समन्ततः शनैः शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थमे मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्। नमः श्री भगवते वासुदेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमो नमः। Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, abandoning completely state of meditation, abandoning completely all wishes of the mind, which were originated from the many intentions of life, controlling the senses and withdrawing them from the object of the senses from outside world by the help of the mind, gradually ceases from all kinds of mental actions with the help of steady intellect. At this state, while one is concentrated on the self, do not think any other thing. So first word, let me use the word self. What is self, or what is true self? In Sanskrit, we call Atma. Some people say Atman. Some people pronounce. Now, what is Atma, what is Atman, or what is true self, or what is true soul, or true self? And because the religious book, religious text, including Swami Pranavanandaji and saint and holy men, they keep talking that God realization is nothing, realization of your own self. I repeat again, because we always imagine that one day God will be coming in front of me and I will see he standing in front of me. That is how we think. Like we read the life of Thakur Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansadev, we read the life of Mirabai, we read the life of Tulsi Das, we read the life of Tukaram, Surdas. We read their life, and while we read their life, we see that God, the goddesses or the Mother Kali or Lord Rama or Lord Krishna appear in front of them. But honestly, that maybe 45 years I'm living in the ashram, maybe I did not do that kind of tapasya. Maybe I did not spend that kind amount of time to see God. That maybe it's my mistake, but after it's the experience of life, the way we think that God will be appearing in front of us. He might appear, he may appear. I'm not telling that he don't appear, but Swami Pranavanandaji never say that. Swami Pranavanandaji always telling that what is the goal of life. Swami Pranavanandaji telling that self-realization means Atma Tattva Upalabdhi, know yourself. Once you know yourself, then your eyes open. That means to know ourselves, we need to close our eyes and search inside of us, go deep into us and find out our true nature. It's a matter of kind of research and practice and time. So here Lord Krishna say, Sankalpa Prabhuvan Kamans Taktva. Sankalpa means, many wishes. We have so much of wishes. Ashram Kali Puja coming, we have to book seat there. We have to go there, we have to go there, we have to go to India, we have to go to Jerusalem to see the birthplace of Christ. We have to go to the Mathura to see the birthplace of Lord Krishna. We want to go. So many kind of the thoughts coming in the mind. The Sankalpa Prabhuvan, we need to buy a new home, we need to earn more money. These are the different kind of Sankalpa always coming in the mind. Like I live in the monastery, so I have a different kind of wishes and sankalpa. And you living a family life, you have a different kind of sankalpa and wishes in your mind. So there is always some kind of wishes is dominating our life. But here Lord Krishna say, at least the time when you're doing meditation, sankalpa prabhavan kaman taktva. Especially at the time of meditation, we need to abandon, give up, relinquish all the wishes which is coming usually, always remain in our mind. So please keep in mind, Lord Krishna telling only at least at the time of meditation, that time we know only one. We know our Lord and myself. I don't know nobody. At least in that particular moment. So Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman Taktva Sarvan Aseshata, completely abandon all kind of wishes that particular time. And then Manosha Evo Indriya Gramam Viniyamam. By the help of the good wisdom, by the help of your mind, that Indriya Gramam, restless senses. We all know what are senses, our eyes, our ears, our tongue, our mouth, our skin, our nose, organ of hearing, organ of smelling, organ of tasting, organ of touching. These are the indriyas are so restless, they are like wild horses. So at least I'm sitting for 20 minutes of meditation. Only 20 minutes of time at a day I'm doing meditation. That time, abandoning all kind of hankering from the mind, and with the help of my good intellect, I control the activities of the senses. Monosaiva indriogramon biniyammo samantata shanoi shanoi uparamit. Dhire dhire, slowly and slowly, withdraw your mind from outside and focus on the wonders of the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, it gives a good description that how we should do meditation, especially those who believe in the image worship, Murti Puja or image worship. But there are more advanced students, those who do not need an image, a murti in front of them. They just go deep inside and they worship the formless aspect of the Lord. They don't need any image because they quickly go deep into their mind. So Shanoi Shanoi Uparamit Buddhya Dhriti Grihita. Use your good intellect, good wisdom, and then Atma Samastang Manoho Kritva. Fully control mind. The mind completely went deep at the lotus feet of my Lord. No kinchidopi chintoit. Please do not think any other thought. And you will see that how Arjuna bringing question. Later I will take you there too. So in this verse, Lord Krishna went little bit higher step of meditation. So already we sit for meditation. Already we fix up our time. Already I'm in the seat at my meditation pose. I'm sitting there to meditate. How to meditate? That first I abandon, relinquish, get out or be free from all the sankalpa pravan kaman, all those desires and hankering and wishes from my mind. I empty the mind completely. And then Monoshavu Indriyogramam Samantata. By the help of the steady mind, I'm controlling, mastering my senses so they cannot, bhakta hua, so they cannot run here and there. And then Shanai Shanai Ruparmit. Slowly, bit by bit, step by step, with your good intellect, Atma Samastan Manohokrita. That focusing the mind and the vast beauty of the Lord, wonders of the Lord. No kinchidapi chintoy. We should not think any other thing except that beauty of the Lord. So you could see how deep this affair, and it's all going on that in the battleground, teaching one of the most known leading warrior of that time, because that Arjuna was so depressed and he was not sure what was good for him. So I could see that Lord Krishna guiding him from with step by step. He's making a yogi life. You be a karma yogi. You do your duties like you practicing your yoga. So that was a wonderful verse. These two verses I read many times today. I was trying to understand because when I do meditation, I could see this thought. Even it happened to me. Say that I'm sitting for meditation. Oh, now people booking for Kali Puja, kind of thing, thoughts coming in mind. So this and then how to do Kali Puja properly. Those kind of thoughts quickly penetrating in the mind. So it happened to me too. So I could not focus completely at the things I sit for meditation. So it happened to everybody. And then I will be taking you to the verse number 26. This is a beautiful verse also. You will enjoy it. Now you may say, Swamiji, you read how to do meditation, how to withdraw the mind, how to relinquish all the desires of the mind, how all the desires of the mind, how we should be empty our mind, and then with the help of our buddhi, we should control, subdue all this restlessness and focus our mind at the feet of the Lord. But it's easy to read, but very difficult to practice. And here Lord Krishna telling to Arjuna what to do in that place, those time. Verse number 26, chapter 6. Om. Om. Yat yat nischarati yat yat nischarati. Bhagavad Gita is a song, basically. Gita, Git, song, we can sing in different tune, and we have that freedom. That's why you see many places where people are reciting Bhagavad Gita in different kind of tune. Yat yat nischarati Manaschañchalam asthiram yat yat nischarati Manaschañchalam asthiram tatastato niyamaitat atmaneva vasamnaye. Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, whichever or whatever places the restless and unsteady mind goes forth. See, whichever or whatever places the restless mind or unsteady mind goes forth, withdrawing it from those places, one should bring it to the self again. So that means indirectly Lord Krishna telling that when you're sitting for meditation, mind might be running away here and there. Because it say here, jato jato nischarati manus chanchalam asthiram. Asthir mind, a restless mind, unsteady mind, cannot focus it properly. As soon as you sit down for meditation, it will be running here, there. It will, if you sit for meditation today, you might be thinking from the election, maybe for this pandemic, maybe for other places, all those thoughts will be coming. So Lord Krishna say that when mind run away from you, you just hold the air of the mind, usko kaan pakad ke, hold the air and bring the mind again and put the mind to do meditation. Yatushchatu nischarati manuschanchalamasthiram tatostatu niyamaita. Bring the mind back again. Mind running away here and there for meditation. Your body sitting at the meditation pose. You sitting at your seat, quiet room, nobody disturbing you, no family member disturbing you, because they know that this is the time for meditation. But then again, it is the your restless sensation, the mind running away here and there. Many people say, Swamiji, it's so difficult to do meditation in home. I think we should come to ashram, or we should go to the Himalayan jungle. But believe me, if the mind is not being mastered, mind is not controlled, if you go to the Himalayan jungle, if you sit there, still mind will be running here and there. Because nature of the mind is the restlessness. The very first verse of the what you call Patanjali Yoga Sutram, the first verse, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodham. One should practice yoga to master the mind. First verse. Lord Krishna said that yes, mind will be running here and there, but bring the mind back again and put the mind again to focus your mind at the feet of the Lord. So that is called Abhyasa Yoga, practice. We all know that practice make one perfect. Continuous practice, continuous, because we cannot earn anything without hard work. And here we knocking the door to open the door of the unknown, undiscovered, vast spiritual world. It is natural that we have to work very hard. And devotees and those who are listening today in this discourse, I'm telling you, it's the experience of life. Even I am learning everyday life that is the purpose of life. Everybody, you could imagine that if you see the animal world, they sleep, we sleep, they eat, we eat, they take care of their children, we take care of other children. So what is they make a nest for their to sleep there, to rest. We make a home. But what's the difference between that world and us? We have a mind, we have a brain. We can think over, we can do discrimination and dispassion. We can use our vivek and vairagya. We can use our intellect, that how we can that fulfill the purpose of this life. And now I will be taking you to this. This is another subject I'm taking you. That is the verse number 29. You will see a completely different kind of topic. It's all related to meditation, but not like directly asking to meditate now. Because all these verses I read, the last three, this is the third discourse going on this particular chapter. So we are talking how to sit meditation, how to prepare ourselves, what to do in the meditation, if the mind is less, what we should do, all those things we are talking. But now it's a different way of to see the world and see what Lord Krishna telling. Sarva bhutasthamatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yogayuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Om Namah Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Lord Krishna tells to his beloved student Arjuna, thus a devotee or an enlightened soul, being equal to everybody, sees his presence in everybody and realizes that all beings are present in him too. This is the openness of our whole, this openness of our heart. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, this world but one family. This world is but one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Guruji say that this is the age of universal awakening, universal brotherhood, universal friendship. We cannot live in this world by not liking somebody. We cannot live. That means we are killing ourselves, but not liking others, because the same soul is everywhere. Here, Sarvabhutastham Atmanam. Thus, a person who develop that kind of intellect, that kind of experience of life, see that he's present in everywhere, because we all are one. You could imagine, we believe in the presence of the existence of the soul or Atma. Like I'm showing my body, and you sitting in front of me, you have an individual body, your appearance is different from me. But then again, the Atma is there. And who is this the Atma, individual soul? What is this? This is the reflection of that super soul. This is the rays of the one sun. These are the rays, reflection of that supreme in you, in me, in him, in her, here, there, everywhere. So an enlightened devotee, enlightened soul, see he's present everywhere. Because when you're coming to the temple, when I look at you, I see your appearance difference, your dress is different, you're talking in a different way. But I know that inside of you, the same soul, the reflection of God is there. You like the Swami or you do not like the Swami. You like the ashram arrangement or you do not like. But I could see that same soul is present in you. So see his presence in everybody and realize all beings are present in him too. Like I am in you, you are in me, because we all the God children of that universal Father. It's kind of oneness. You feel the oneness in this world. Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, Jews, or any kind of faith you follow, anywhere you live, in black, white, or the kind of color I have, whatever color, you short, you tall, whatsoever, but we all are one family, the family member of the one family, the member of that big family, and the father of this family is the universal Father, the God. So that's how Lord could see that Lord Krishna taking Arjuna, how above of that human feelings, the way we think, oh, my husband, wife, two children, this is me, this is my world. I don't care what's happening outside. I don't care the neighbor die crying. I don't care. Make sure I have enough food to eat. Make sure I have enough money to enjoy. And make sure I have my home is protected. But it's not the life actually. It's the selfishness. It's the meanness. We are the member of the same family. So, Sarvabhutastha Atmanam, seeing yourself in everybody and everybody in you, Ikshate Yoga Yuktarma, he see things properly, rightfully. Same subject, Lord Krishna continue in the verse number 30. Yo mame pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sa cha me na pranasyati. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. In the same subject, Lord Krishna continue. He who see me everywhere, me means the Lord Krishna, and everything in me, I'm lost. I'm not lost to him, and he is not lost to me either. So, yo mam pashyati sarvatra. a devotee who see the presence of the God everywhere. Even you walking on the dark road in a village, suddenly a snake came in front of you, uplifted hood, hissing snake. And so we try to kill the snake. I remember in my childhood days, I killed the snake also, like the poisonous, the cobra snake. One time I killed. But why the snake lifting up the hood? Because it's scared, it feels threatening for its own life. Not like it unnecessarily, the snake is not going to bite you. Because the snake is feeling that his life or its life is in danger. And so it protecting. That story that I think I told one time, but it came to this point, so that's why I'm mentioning that a yogi advises snake that you must abandon this hatred. And the yogi give a mantra to the snake that chant this, it will make you free from all this kind of hatred and all this hingsa, violence. The snake becomes so soft with the chanting. The boys began to throw bricks, holding his tail, throwing almost half dead. When the guru came, look, what happened to what happened to you? Why you were so wounded, bleeding, skinny, look like you dead? So Guruji, this happened, so I abandoned that, what you call that, violence I abandoned, and this is how it happened. So Guruji said that you don't understand my teaching. There's nothing wrong that you have to lift up your hood and make noise so that people get scared to leave you alone and you could chant your name peacefully. Don't bite anybody to kill anybody. Because you have to protect yourself first, and then so that nobody disturb you, and then you sit for meditation. So Yomam Pashuti, it reminding me the word of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who introduced the Hare Krishna name around 500 some years ago in the district of Nadia in Navadvip, Mayapur. I was born in the same district, so I know the whole thing from childhood days. So, it's his teaching, he's telling, make your habit eyes, wherever your eyes going, you could see your beautiful God, the presence of your beautiful beloved Lord is right there. In wall, in chair, in computer school, in clock, in animal, in trees, in sky, in rain, in the forest, in the mountain, in the marvel, in the mud, in the grass. Wherever eyes go, we could see my beloved Krishna is present there. It's kind of feeling that he is invaded, his presence everywhere. You are Acha, you are in fire, you are in the sky, you are in the forest, you are in the creeper, whatever, you are in the water, you are under the water, everywhere, you are everywhere. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvancha moi pashyati. Also a devotee who see that everything is present in the God, like we habituate to worship Guruji Swami Pranavanandaji, because we live in monastery, and any monastery, they worship their spiritual master as God. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Guru is the creator, Guru is the protector. Guru is the person who hold our hand to take us to the other shore of life. So we see Guru as God. So everything presents in, so we see that Guruji is present everywhere and everything presents in Guruji. Jomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvatra, sarvocha moi pashyati. And who see everything presents in Guruji. Tasyaham na pranasami. I'm not lost to him. I'm always with him. I'm sitting right there at the altar of his heart, or altar at her heart. I'm always protecting my devotee from right side, left side, front, behind, down, up, everywhere. I'm protecting my devotee wherever he is or wherever she is. Tasyaham na pranashyami. I'm not lost to him. Sacha me na pranashyati. And he is not lost to me. Because one thing we learn in life, in our spiritual life. A devotee who even pronounce the name of the God unwillingly even, that also bring good result. Say that your child name is Narayan or Krish or Shiva, and you keep calling her, Shiva, come here, take your meal, Shiva, go there, don't do that, Shiva, go to school, Shiva, do this. So that means all day you chanting the name of Lord Shiva unknowingly, and that must bring good result to you. And that is why there is a tradition, especially Indian home, they keep the name of their children in the name on the name of the some gods and goddesses. So Arjuna, a devotee who see me everywhere, a devotee who see I am present in everything, he's not lost to me and I'm not lost to him. I'm always with him. So that was the summary of this particular verse. And let me see that I'm just keeping a couple of verses so that we can take you to the last verses of today, whatever I thought to be read. So here I take you today, right now the verse number 32. I skipped a couple of, I wanted to read, but just need to complete this chapter. Look like I will not be able to finish today, but let me see how far we could go. Verse number 32. Atmopamena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjunaha sukhang vajadi va dukhyam sa yogi parama mataha om hari om. Lord Krishna tells, O Arjuna, to me, that devotee is recognized at the best of all yogis, comparing to his own feelings, count the happiness and sorrow of others as his own. That devotee counted as the best devotee of the God, who think that others' happiness and joy as his own, others' happiness and sorrows as his own. We hear the people suffering in this world. How many times our tears come to our eyes thinking the suffering of others? If you remember the word of Swami Vivekananda, the great sannyasi of India could produce. Swami Vivekananda say, you want to see your God? Go to the mud house of the places where people are crying for little food, little clothes, little education, little medicine. Go there, your living God is living right there. And if you see the Bharat Sevashram Sangh history, from the day it was born in 1917, from today to 2020, more than 100 years, the Bharat Sevashram Sangh and the disciples of Swami Pranavanandaji Maharaj is fully dedicated in public benefit. Why? Because Guruji is teaching that go to the, see your living God, the crying people. Try to help the, wipe the tears of the people, because these are the children of the God. So a devotee, that devotee is that recognized as the best devotee, who comparing to his own feelings, he count the others' feelings, like others' happiness and others' sorrows as his own. That means we feeling oneness with everybody. Somebody crying, tears coming to my eyes because I feel the pain, the way he's going through. Because since we in the temple, we see always happy people, joyful people, and also we see crying people. I remember one day, it was dark, myself and Delhi Swamiji were sitting quietly in a temple. We were talking. Suddenly one lady came to Lord Vishnu in front of Lord Vishnu, and suddenly raised her two hands and crying loud. The pain she's going. It happened right in our temple in New Jersey, Bharat Sevashram. Myself and Swami Atmagyanandaji, two of us were sitting, and temple was a little dark. We put only one temple, the altar light, and we were talking among ourselves of the ashram thing. And lady came, I see, went to the Lord Vishnu, the Murti, that area. And suddenly she raised her hand, crying so loudly. Look like, so we put on the light because we got scared. And then, that we give her time. So I could see that some kind of pain she's going, that she's unable to bear that pain. And where she could go, she came to the temple and passed, they could cry. So how many people we can get in this world thinking that other sorrow is my sorrow? According to the teachings of Lord Krishna, he is the best devotee who can count the happiness and sorrows of others as his own. And now Lord Krishna, see what Arjuna telling. All these teachings we hear from the Lord Krishna's mouth about the meditation, about how to do meditation, how to control the mind, how to use our good wisdom, how to see God, the presence of the God in everywhere. All these wonderful teachings, Arjuna was listening silently. He did not mention not a single word. Now you see what Arjuna bringing, what Arjuna asking. That's the verse number 33. Verse number 33, we see what Arjuna telling. I think that this will be the last verse of today's discourse. Arjuna vacha. Arjuna said, Yoyami yogostvaya proktaha sammena madhusudana. Yoyami yogostvaya proktaha sammena madhusudana. Etasyaham napashyami chanchalati chanchalat sthitim sthiram chanchalat sthitim sthiram. You could see what Arjuna telling to Lord Krishna. Hey Krishna, O Madhusudan, these beautiful yoga lessons which you have taught to me all this time regarding impartiality of the mind, I do not see its stability. Why? Because the nature of the mind is very unreliable, very restless. It is difficult to control. You could see what Arjuna bringing. Yoyam yogostoya prokto sammena Madhusudana. Oh Madhusudan. Madhusudan is another name of the Lord Krishna. Because one time he destroyed a demon, a evil person called Madhu. That's how he got the name Madhusudan. And devotees of Lord Krishna love to call him Madhusudan. So, hey Madhusudan, oh Lord Madhusudan, all these beautiful lessons of yoga you taught to me is wonderful to hear. It's nice to listen to you, but it's very difficult to practice because to me, mind is so restless that it's very difficult to practice. I just cut short of this verse because I want to take you this the answer of the Lord Krishna, then I conclude. So I'm just cutting short of the explanation of these two verses. Bayariva Suduskiram. Arjuna mentioned in the verse number 34, O Krishna, what I think restless and it is awfully disturbing to the senses. It is very powerful and irresistible. An effort to refuse to go along with the unsteady nature of the mind is like one is trying to control the wind. It is almost impossible, beyond the capacity of humans. This is my opinion. So that is the verse number 34. Lord Arjuna says that I don't think the teaching you taught me is possible to practice. So answer of the Lord Krishna we complete today. The verse number 35, sorry. Sri Bhagavan Vacho, Lord Krishna said, Asam Sayang Mahabaho मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते। ॐ नमः श्री भगवते वासुदेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमो नमः. Just read the meaning and then I will be completing today. Lord Krishna said, the Lord said, O mighty arm Arjuna, undoubtedly the mind is irresistible and very restless. But, O son of Mother Kunti, you can restrain it by regular practice as well as with the help of the spirit of renunciation or with the help of spiritual consciousness. So, Asamswayang Mahabahu Mano Durnigraham Chalam. Lord Krishna fully agree with Arjuna that mind is restless. Yes, I do agree with you, Arjuna, that mind is restless. But, Obhyasana tu Kauntena, O son of Mother Kunti, Obhyasa jo, you must embrace practice. We all know that practice makes surely one perfect. Daily practice, daily forcefully sitting for meditation, Obhyasana tu Kauntena, Vairagyana, and spirit of renunciation to abandon things I don't need in. Like at a time come, you throw your things you don't need you put into garage sale or throw into the dustbin outside. These are the garbage filling up your home. No need you spending your time to this wasting to preserving in the home. Or Swamiji doing garage sale, let me donate to the ashram, so money go to ashram whatsoever come. It's like that. Spirit of renunciation, all the garbage from the container from the head to throw outside, or spirit of spiritual consciousness, adhyatmikata. So these two things, the practice of bhyas and spirit of renunciation and spiritual consciousness will help a practitioner of meditation to take to the other soul of life. By saying this few words, I think I should complete here. Let me say a prayer for everybody who is listening today and who is not listening. I'm praying for everybody in this world. Om Do Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apo Shanti Ushodhaya Shanti Vanaspati Shanti Vishwe Deva Shanti Sarvam Shanti 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 Nama Shanti Redhi Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Namaskar.
Thank you.